Awesome date, April 18th, 2011. Awesome topic, Koi Koi. This is the OSMcast.
Thunder and lightning prevails us here at the OSMcast. I'm Basil.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Rail.
And that's us. Now, just to warn everyone, we are recording a little bit early this time. We're actually recording this on the same Monday that we just released our last episode because of two reasons. One, our prestigious producer, Mr. DJ Inubito, next Monday is going out of town for a couple of weeks, so we want to make sure that we have the episode ready to release on time. So we have to get it to him before we actually, release. But secondly, and both sort of a bittersweetness to it, our very own Rail Claymiolar, aka Brad, has decided that he needed to actually get employed. And so he has, in the beautiful state of Texas. Which means this is his last episode of the OSMcast, at least until the next time we drag him in to a convention or back town.
Yeah.
To Huntsville, Alabama.
You make it sound so melodramatic.
Well, if you meet any Allsballs in Texas, they might be that side of the family that my dad doesn't like, so beware.
Thanks for the heads up.
It's important because you never know when an Allspaw might strike.
Yeah.
Yes. There's actually a lot more of us than you think.
They're like thieves in the night with weird last names.
Yeah.
They're what, Prussian?
Yeah. No, seriously, it's more than you think. I once saw another Allsball in the Navy on CNN. It was weird. He was waiting for his SpongeBob DVDs in the mail. So apparently a love of animation also runs in the Allsballs.
And a love of sponges.
Yes. Beautiful sponges.
Ooh, and it sounds like James is going at it them Dragon Ages. So...
James does it because he loves us.
It's true. I don't even know if the mic's even picking it up.
I don't know if you can hear it going on in the background, but we certainly can.
We'll find out when we actually hear this.
I suppose.
But now, your awesome update. OSMcast is going to be at MTAC.
Well, pressure didn't exist then anyways. But yes, we will be at MTAC.
Yes, and we have panels, which you mentioned last time. But you're now going to get a refresher on those, because we want people there actually filling seats. Now, wouldn't that be neat?
Yeah, that would be. It's nothing worse than a panel with nobody who shows up, or.
Like that one we did at OhioCon last year.
Yeah, I wasn't there, but. Well, even if a couple people show up in a panel, you can have fun. But if nobody shows up, you're just standing there.
We had
bored.
like 6 people for that panel.
We did, but it took like 10 minutes to get even 2 or 3 people to show up.
The problem was the room was so huge, where it was a room that was designed to fit like 200 people, and we had like 15.
Yeah.
If we were on a small panel room that seated like 30 or 40 people, it would not have been too bad. But we were in a gigantic room with not a gigantic presence of con-goers there. Hopefully, that won't happen at this con. With these topics, it's hard to say no. While we're starting up Friday at 2 p.m. at Panel Room 3. Mind you, all these things that we tell you is, of course, as of this recording, or release of the recording, 2 weeks old. So who knows? It might have been changed.
Double check. Double check once you get there.
Because they like to change things. Even the same day of.
That's all cons, really.
It is a part of the convention experience. Anyways, Friday, 2 p.m., Panel 3. The English Jamboree.
It's just too much high power, man.
It is. So come get your English get, as both myself and Drew played loads of crazy clips. Then, following in Panel Room 4, Friday at 6 p.m., the baddest, the greatest, the most dangerous teas ever brewed. It's tea, green and more.
It's a manly tea. You could lose a limb.
Or 12.
Is Susie hosting this panel?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
That would be correct. And then, later on that same night, also in Panel Room 4, Friday at 9 p.m., Anime's creepy uncle, Go Nagai kicks your ass.
I don't have a snarky comment for that. It's Go Nagai. It's awesome.
Go Nagai is awesome. And that's why we're talking about it. And on Saturday, getting your anime groove back in Panel 3, Saturday at 5:30 p.m.
The best anime shows you're not watching, but you probably should be.
Or maybe you are watching them, in which case you'll go, yeah, that was a good show. And that's been your awesome update.
Dun, 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 dun.
So I guess, with that out of the way, Brad, I'm going to let you kick it off with our moments of awesome.
It's
My
a
moments of
moment of awesome.
Regale us with your tales of awesome endeavors in the lands of media. Talk about Arts and Echo 3, Brad.
Yeah, that's right. that was what I was going to mention. I've almost completed the game. There are 8 different endings, and I've gotten 2 of them so far, but I want to get about 4 or 5 of them before I leave, including Kokona's ending, but I doubt I'll get to that.
Now, for those at home who don't know what the hell this crazy RPG even is...
That one of them weeaboo games, Brad?
Well, the Arts and Elko franchise started back in, I think, 2007, maybe 2006. I don't know when the first game was released in Japan, but usually the game is released here in North America 1 year later. The whole premise of Arts and Elko is that in a post-apocalyptic surface world, uninhabitable type atmosphere, there are these 3 towers that exist, and each of them is centered on this being called a Ravetel. A Ravetel is basically a girl/woman who uses song magic to do all sorts of things. And the 3 towers were created by so-called Ravetel origins. And every other Ravetel in this world is either a beta version, a beta Ravetel, which is basically like a sort of direct copy made synthetically from her, or from her DNA, whatever it is. And then 3rd generation Ravetels are basically the Ravetel children or offspring of a beta Ravetel and human male. And the way this series works is there are all sorts of conflicts between humans and Ravetels and all sorts of stuff and sinister plots, and the anime is very fan servicey. Or I should say the whole franchise is. They did make an anime.
Is there an OAV or something?
There's an OAV of the first game that's based off the first game. I usually say anime because I think anime, but I'm actually talking about a game now. This whole game, this whole franchise is very like fan servicey and revolves around that. And the music is also very good because the whole thing's about song magic. So
I guess you would want a good soundtrack.
yeah, you would want a good soundtrack, and the soundtracks for all 3 games are absolutely awesome. If you've played either one or both of the first 2, you need to play this game. It's called Artanella Koga here in North America. For some reason, Koga means last in the language, the Hymnos language or whatever they use in the game. But in Japan, when I got the Japanese version last year, they just called it Artanella 3. The girl's song that triggers the world's demise or something like that. But they simplified the title a little bit. Well, they both simplified it and made it more complex. They added Koga, but the subtitle of it is just Yell of CL. It's not any of that girl this, girl that, whatever.
Yet ironically, it's on the biggest box imaginable for a PS3 game.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's NIS's first rated M game because of purge scenes and dialogue. So you thought like the first two games were very fan servicey. Why do you get a load of this one?
We played a little of 3. It does initially seem like the battles involve around.
They made it 3D.
Yeah,
fully 3D.
It involves stripping your female magic user to use her most powerful attacks. At least that's what I initially thought. Then I realized later in the game it's about stripping all your party members down for their most powerful attacks.
Yes.
Some of the male ones are kind of funny and or disturbing.
So is that your Art and Alico moment?
That is my Art and Alico moment.
I don't know what's awesome out there. What am I?
I don't know. You're talking about hyperdimensional Neptunia.
Yeah, but that's a little too much like Art and Alico.
So why not?
It's another fan servicey weeaboo game.
Look, it's Brad's last podcast.
Okay, it's all fan servicey weeaboo. This podcast. Okay, just for Brad's sake.
It makes me wonder what Basil's gonna have.
I will bring up Hyperdimensional Neptunia, also in an equally biggest PS3 game case ever. It's because it comes with an art book. Is another, well, it's Sega, but it's also it's a combined effort between Sega and several other game companies: Gust, Compile Heart, Nippon Ichi Software,
Idea Factory,
and it's the story of the console wars told in a fantasy RPG format. With various goddesses representing the different platforms. Unfortunately, you're playing Sega. You're playing the Sega Neptune, the never released or finished Sega Neptune, who is now a person. The other 3 goddesses team up and destroy Sega, basically, who the other 3 represent Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony, of course. And there's 4 different magical worlds you travel between and have wacky adventures. And your other party members are kind of living embodiments of some of the game companies that helped work on it, like Compile Heart, Idea Factory, Nippon Ichi Software, Gust. And it's humorous. Virtually the entire cast, at least the entire cast that matters, is female. There's a bit of fan serviciness. There's some jiggle factor.
Yeah, Eurogamer, I remember, I think it was Eurogamer, they reviewed it and called it typical Japanese sexism in a game. But...
I think what really saves it is it has a fairly humorous plot. The characters make me laugh infrequently, so I overlook some of the wackier aspects of the game because they're not taking it any more seriously.
You're probably not going to like this game unless you like JRPGs to begin with. And that's who the market's targeted towards.
It has a lot of walk-on.
Don't bother reading any reviews unless they're from sites that specialize in those kinds of games.
Yeah, it does have a lot of serial numbers filed off, walk-ons by various video game characters, never called by name, but Master Chief from Halo, the Mario Brothers, are all referenced subtly in the dialogue, depending on which world you're in. It also has summons of iconic Sega characters, which is bizarre, but Sega made it, released on Sony, on PlayStation 3, but yeah, it's about the console wars in a very cutesy girly format, with jiggling breasts and the visual novel-esque cutscenes. That's
Now, was Neptune supposed to be Sega's current generation system to compete with PS3 and Wii and 360, or was it?
Well, I think it was. Actually,
I thought it was. I
think supposed to be in between the Sega CD32X and the.
That's what I thought.
And the Saturn, or that, or the
I
Saturn
thought it was
and the
supposed to be a
Dreamcast?
'90s system, and then all of a sudden they decided to bring this prototype system that they never released back to make a video game out of it 10 years later. That's kind of weird, but okay.
Yeah, it's just...
And Neptune's a cute enough name.
Yeah. I don't know why they called Neptunia in the U.S. They left her name as Neptune in the translation, so I don't know. But it's...
it gives it more of a ring to put the...
I would call it kind of a guilty pleasure game.
You Latinize the...
Yeah. I would call Neptune kind of a guilty pleasure game. I occasionally feel like kind of bad playing it, but the gameplay is basically fun. It's not as risque as Arts and Ellico.
No.
At its most risque, it's about as risque as Arts and Ellico at its least risque.
Even though they censored the cover. on the U.S. version.
Did they?
They put her hand above her cleavage.
Oh yeah, they did. I
and
think
the Japanese version has that absent.
Yeah,
but if they wanted to avoid any controversy, since they released it only in a special edition here, they should have used the special edition cover that they used in both the Japanese and the Korean versions, which was basically a white background mainly with the versions of the characters that are their normal human type.
It's either in the in-game gallery or in the art book or both. I think
they're
they have
in the
all
art book.
I think
they're
they have
also
all the
in the
covers.
Yeah, and I thought that cover was actually better. So,
but there you go.
That's me.
This is actually one last thing. It's kind of weird as I found out the game was being released in English of all places on PlayAsia.com. But that was kind of weird. Basically fun. I'll finish it one day.
I will after I'm done with Arts and Ellico 3.
I probably rambled about it more than we need to, but
that's okay.
I'm going to talk about something completely different.
Oh, come on.
I'm going to talk about Butterflies Flowers, which is a josei manga.
Ooh,
Oh,
josei.
wow.
That's for adult women.
That's damn right it is, Kevin. And boy, howdy, is it for adult women. It's about this girl whose name is Choco. Choco is her name. And back when she was a young girl, her family was wealthy and rich. They had a big old house and lots of stuff. And they had a manservant. And the manservant's son took care of this girl named Choco. And then the economic collapse occurred. And the parents lost their businesses and everything. And so they lost it all. Except all they had left was their house, which her parents decided to sell to pay the severance fees for all their employees, including that manservant.
Oh, that was nice of them.
Years later, Choco has now been, is now an office lady. She was hired by this important dude who loves to sexually harass her. And she gets really annoyed by it. And then she discovers that this man, who is her boss, was also the boy who used to take care of her as a child. And pretty soon they start going out, which means he is both her servant, her boss, and also boyfriend.
Comedy ensues?
Comedy ensues. It is hilarious. And you also, and just to keep the whole thing on fan service, you even get to start seeing nipple in like book 3 or 4, because unlike most romantic comedies, they actually have sex. They actually become lovers.
It is targeted toward adult women, so
yeah.
But I mean, you get the whole madcap things of the issues that all couples face, but with the whole weird thing about the whole his name is brain working. Domoto is his name. And, he is in equal, measures perv and gallant servant gentleman dude, and also ex-special forces.
Well,
which means in later shows, he's pulling out, like, rocket launchers, pistols, piloting a Hind D or helicopter equivalent. Just out of nowhere, at some point, a random Bazooka Z's head just drops into a panel. It's obviously the author here. She is a big mecha nerd, and it sort of shines through. And it's just a really fun, goofy,
awesome
romantic comedy where that actually goes places.
Josei, much like with seinen, which is the same for adult males, can be kind of varied in story, much more so than you get out of shoujo or shonen, or at least a bigger variation within the genre. Mm-hmm. So that sounds interesting. Basil just told me about this a couple days ago, and I kind of want to check it out.
Now, I was going to talk about Monster Tale. I might say that for a later podcast. I thought this whole fan servicey theme going on for Brad, I would give him some, more tasteful, more adult humor, and not quite this moi bullshit that he forces on my podcast on a daily basis.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
He's out of here.
Which makes me sad.
I've only been on like 3 of your podcasts in the past year anyway, so what are you
on a
complaining
daily
about?
basis?
That means
we just have to edit it all out.
Means we got to find someone else who's a Moe fan to kind of balance out the podcast with a kind of a different approach.
There's Alex. Yeah. I don't think Alex, unfortunately, I don't think he's public speaking material.
I think it's okay, but it's just he's even more so than I am, so you're not gonna.
True. But if you're looking to be the Moe presence on the podcast, too bad, because Brad's it. Now that Brad's leaving, you'll never get it again. Ever. Sucks to be you. If you have a problem with this, you can email us at awesomecast@gmail.com or leave us comments at the website, awesomecast.com, or leave us a voicemail. Do you remember the number? Hell no. But it's at the website, awesomecast.com.
Isn't it to something awesome line?
It is, in fact, as my computer
209
loads.
awesome line, I bet it is.
You are correct.
Oh, wow.
209 awesome line. Or 209-676-5463. So yeah, there you go. Awesome line. Awesome cast. And now it's a long time since we actually get into our actual topic of conversation, Summer Wars. So, if you have listened back to our podcast about 82A, way back in the heady days of 2010, I actually ran into one of the marketing guys for Funimation. And he was saying one of the biggest things they were trying to do was they were trying to get an Academy nomination for Summer Wars, which is a wonderful movie that you have no doubt guessed that we're talking about tonight. Sadly, as you know, or do not know, you will know now, it did not receive a nomination.
Didn't make a nomination. Was put forward, but no nomination.
Like, Funimation pushed it hard. In fact, they delayed releasing this on DVD and Blu-ray to do their best to try and get it nominated and actually put in theaters where they could.
There was limited screenings.
There were limited screenings, basically New York and Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And I will tell you right now that this movie is totally worth it.
Definitely.
Here's a disclaimer. If you work in IT or internet security, you will think a lot of the core themes of this movie and how it handles technology is stupid.
Kind of like how cops hate police shows, lawyers hate lawyer shows, and people in actual school choirs hate Glee. It's the same kind of thing.
Or perhaps you're a lawyer and you're trying to play Phoenix Wright. Some things just may bug you. Thankfully, I don't qualify for that, so I love the shit out of it.
Ditto.
Oddly enough, Alex likes Summer Wars a lot.
Well, Alex actually doesn't have an IT job.
Okay, that's probably why. But he would know. It's like, you can't do that, that's stupid. But I guess he likes it.
Well, the trick is that one of the central conceits of the film is about this land called Oz.
Wonderful land of Oz.
Which is kind of like, what if Facebook married Amazon and then was polished in a Go Gaia veneer?
It's basically every social networking site you know of, and some you don't, rolled into one, along with online shopping. Mm-hmm.
But the trick is, this is now the backbone for human civilization. Stocks are traded, utilities are ran. This is like a unifying world OS of life.
Nearly everyone on the planet has an account. And not only do they have an account, nearly all of their business is managed through it.
Like, whether it's your cell phone, your DS, or DSi, or possibly, your cell phone, your computers, your laptops, everything.
Internet-enabled TVs.
It's all connected to Oz.
And you get to have a cute little avatar that you can customize in a million ways, and you can buy stuff online that you can really have shipped to your home, and your avatar can play with too. It sounds like fun and like horrible at the same time.
And while this is what introduced to you in the opening scene is introducing you to Oz, that's only partially about what this film is about.
But it's the one thing in the story that doesn't really exist, so they introduce it to you quick to get you used to the idea.
It's actually sort of a romantic comedy?
It's kind of part romantic comedy, part cyber thriller.
Mm-hmm. The whole idea is you got your guy named Kenji Koiso. And he's a nerd. And he is really good at math. In fact, he's almost so good at math, he almost made Olympic math. Which I guess is when you're Olympiad and want to do math, that's where you go to do math.
Yeah, some kind of international math competition. He shows off his math prowess early by, when asking another character's birthday, he tells them the day of the week they were born on, just by figuring out it in his head.
Sort of like the Rain Man?
Yeah, and he's about as socially functional. That's not fair. That's not fair. He is very shy, painfully shy. And he has a little side job doing system maintenance on Oz, but along with one of his friends.
And then the girl, who, of course, throws him into chaos. Natsuki goes, "Hey, you want to come out and hang out with me for a weekend with my folks out in the boonies?"
She tells him they're having a big family get-together and that they can use some extra hands to help out, and he'd basically just have a little summer vacation for 4 days for a few hours work kind of thing.
And then he goes because the girl's cute and he wants to do her.
Yeah.
Why anyone? Yeah. And his friend wanted to go too, but she liked the other guy better.
And so he goes there, and she introduces him to their family and announces that he's actually her boyfriend. And
fiance, even.
He's been schooling in America. He's a college student.
He's high school.
Going to Tokyo University.
Yeah. And he's like, "What?" She's like, "Play along or I kill you." I mean, well, not really, but play along or I kill you.
And then stuff happens, and then he's given a computer problem. Well, he's given a gigantic thing of numbers.
Yeah, basically, like, first night there, while he's sleeping, his cell phone beeps, and he gets a weird email that's a string of numbers with a message, "Solve me." And he proceeds to do just that. And, sends it seems like he's not even thinking about it. He just gets the math problem. It's like, "Ooh, math problem." And he works it out, and he sends it back, and he gets a little "thank you," and, he goes to sleep and doesn't think any more of it.
And that's when suddenly we start getting this shift to cyber thriller.
Because, he wakes up in the morning, and he finds out the news is blaming him for breaking the internet.
As it turns out, a raging rogue AI has taken his answer and was able to use it to break into the central Oz accounts, is now able to start jacking, accounts at will.
Yeah, he just basically gave it the encryption key. But
and so now they have to stop it. But all the while, dealing with the fact that they have all these family members here for Natsuki's great-grandmother's 90th birthday.
Which is the whole reason they're doing the fiance thing, is because she had made a promise to her great-grandmother to introduce him to her fiance
Oh no, to her boyfriend.
Her boyfriend.
Just to her boyfriend.
Yeah.
She decided to add fiance.
Yeah.
Because she actually has a hard-on for her uncle.
Yeah.
Who is the black sheep of the family.
I'm fuzzy if there's any actual blood relation between the two of them, but still slightly creepy.
Well, yes, though he is the son of her great-grandfather and his mistress.
Yeah. So probably it's still slightly creepy. I guess he probably wouldn't technically be her uncle, but yeah, it's kind of complicated. This is a complicated family. There's a lot of them, and their kids, and their kids' kids.
And that's one of the few things. Well, not one of the few things. One of the really good things that Summer Wars does really, really well is the whole feeling of going out into the boonies and meeting your, this huge extended family.
If you've ever had in-laws or a girlfriend's family you've ended up meeting, you might be able to relate.
I think even if you have a family you don't get to see very often, except for maybe the annual family trip up to the boonies, then you'll understand. It's that same sort of feeling.
Yeah.
Where, you've got your goofy uncle, the mom who wants to keep control of everything.
Yeah. Somehow it's always whichever family member lives in the most out-of-the-way place is where you gather, too. I don't know. That must just be a rule.
The random, kids who will wake you up in the morning because, by God, you're new and therefore interesting, therefore they want to play with you.
You are fresh meat.
The gigantic family meals, how everyone fancies a very iconic personality, but you can't remember their name is worth a flip.
Yeah.
But you sure know who they are when you see them.
Yeah. Probably you probably have something like that or know someone's family like that.
It's just one of those things that really, really strikes out as goofy as they handle their ideas of the internet. They get this it really, really knocks it home.
Well, the director actually based it on meeting his wife's family for the first time. He's from a very small family, and his wife's family is a huge family with a bunch of weird people. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them are direct analogs.
Every huge family has a bunch of weird people.
Well, yeah.
A lot of the averages or probability, actually.
But, they're all interesting and easy to... They're easy to recognize. You may know people like this. I'm sure at least some of them people like this.
It reminded me of my own family gatherings when I was younger. My mom and I would take trips to Korea, and one of our family members lived out in the countryside, and we'd have this huge place and set up mosquito tents every summer just to keep the mosquitoes out, and have family gatherings, like watermelon and all this other stuff. Yeah. So. The setting of this this movie kind of reminded me of that, so I was kind of able to relate to that, and it allowed me to put myself in the shoes of the math whiz. What's his face?
Yeah.
I'm bad with names, but I can remember the characters.
It is set in Ueda.
My family's about that diverse as well.
It is set in Ueda, Japan, which is kind of the boonies. It's a small. It's got
it's in Nagano Prefecture.
Yeah,
it's just north. It's a bit northwest of Tokyo, so
it's a little bit out of the way. Basically,
they had to take a train out to get there.
So this is a serious oversimplification, but if you're not living in Tokyo in Japan, you kind of are in the boonies most of the time.
Yeah.
But it really reminded me of back when when I was a kid, I'd have to go up to Missouri for my mom's gigantic family reunion. And so that's when you would go to a random picnic area, and suddenly there are 50 people. You have no clue who they are.
But they're related to you.
But they're all related to you, and therefore they love you. And therefore they accept you, even though you might get a little bit of hazing in there.
Yeah. That's the first thing you probably want to talk about. Most people, I think, would want to talk about in this film is the virtual world cyber thriller aspect. But the part that's really going to stick with you is the family dynamic portion of the film. Which is what actually makes the film really great.
That family dynamic of the film almost reminds me of a bit of a Miyazaki type-esque feel to it. Maybe it was the animation that Madhouse did, which Madhouse did a superb job on this, by the way.
As Madhouses usually want to do.
Yeah. Another thing I noted was that... Besides the contrast you have between what's going on in Oz versus the real world, I think the fact that the family gathering was held way out in the boonies in the countryside serves as a good contrast to the chaos that this rogue AI in Oz was causing in Tokyo in the urban areas, and there was flashes back and forth between that countryside estate and what was happening in Tokyo with some of their relatives who were working there in various firefighters, doctors, other capacity, and other capacities. And I think that contrast served to enhance the story telling setting of the movie. Yes, so
the AI, once it has the keys to the castle, as it were, for Oz, it starts stealing people's accounts, and like everyone in the damn world has their accounts on Oz, and it steals people who work for Water and Power, or steals people who are administrators of companies. It can then screw with the electricity, it can screw with the traffic routing, because it's all still through Oz. And if he has their privileges, he has the privileges they have in real life, essentially.
And so he's able to screw things up, and it actually ends up being on the onus of the great-grandmother to actually set it upon herself to, pull out the old trusty pen and paper and the handwritten address book.
The rotary phone,
Get on the phone.
and start,
This grandma is an awesome old lady. She's from old samurai family stock.
Which is... That got annoying after a while. They kept referring to, they're really proud of their family history.
That's apparently...
We were there when the Tokugawa were battling
That
such
is apparently,
such,
though, absolutely true to the people who live in Ueda. Because those there's two battles that happen there. That's historical fact. They are proud of those losing battles they fought.
Well, if you notice, one of the things they do is they constantly ramp in the... It's called Summer Wars for a reason, because they keep referring to... There's different battlefronts, as it were, that they're showing you throughout the movie. Whether it's the fighting the rogue AI in Oz, whether it's the main character guy learning to get along with, Natsuki's family, whether it's the, constantly they're flashing to one of the family members. He's a pitcher in high school, and they're currently in their tournament to try and get to the Koshin. Yeah.
There's his mom who they can't drag away from the TV, who's watching it all the time. And
and he's constantly, pitching these more and more absurdly scored games where suddenly there's they're having to beat 10, runs. Later on it's 30 or 50 runs that they're, the scores keep ramping up. And if you notice, every time that the crazy uncle starts mentioning the battles they fought, the number of people the battles they refer to, the amount of enemies constantly gets bigger and bigger. And so it sort of gives you this behind the scenes, as the battle to fight the AI is ramping up for higher stakes. The stakes for everything else is getting higher to match it. Which sort of, starts building the entire movie faster and faster to sort of its fever pitch. Which I don't want to get too much into, because that's when we start getting into the whole spoilers territory.
Yes.
I think we might have already spoiled this a little bit too much, even though I think what we've brought forth to tell you is more the first half of the film.
Yeah.
So it really...
I would almost argue, they get to it pretty quick that it's an AI.
Yeah, they get... that's within the first 30 minutes of the film.
You might... That is maybe the most spoilery thing I think we've said, but it's an AI. It's not just some clever hacker or something, but...
They mention that today pretty quickly.
Yeah.
As soon as the problem occurs, they pretty quickly get to the fact this is an AI that's been released. Now, as to circumstances of who made it and why it's released, that we won't get into until
where
spoilers.
It came from, what it's doing.
But the whole thing is covered.
Right.
They do a pretty good job of setting up a bunch of dominoes and then knocking them all down pretty evenly, so there's not really that much in the way of, hooks left untold. You get a pretty complete story by watching this film. And it's really important to mention this because this is a complete film that's totally original.
Right.
That, it's an actual original animation.
Unlike The Girl Who Leapt Through Time, which is the same director, it's not based on an existing story.
He actually, thought this up. And I mention this because it's one of the things we need more of in anime.
Yes. Now, He does also superficially resemble a more refined version of the second Digimon movie plot, which same director, but he really expanded and refined it a lot. Although I think that's probably the best Digimon movie. But
well, I think it's more animation. It's more importantly a film to have more original works.
Yes,
because as we are seeing in the history of cinema recently, as well as anime, we're getting more and more remakes,
either sequels, more adaptations, highly derivative films. Which, okay, it's hard to be. You can't really be totally original anymore, not easily, anyways. But you can be more. You can be more creative,
and you can still bring your own ideas to the table, which
right.
the director did. And I feel that's really important to mention, because it was Mamoru Hosoda who did this, mm-hmm. and I think it was really, really well. Like, just the whole marriage of the crazy antics in Oz. By the way, you can even have tournaments, a martial arts tournament in Oz, which is important because one of the characters we have not mentioned yet is Kazuma, who is like the fighting champion, who's sort of the brute force, fighter that shows up occasionally throughout the film to try and fight the AI. And then there's the crazy climactic battle that turns out completely differently than one would expect in a film. Which we'll probably get to when we start getting into spoilers. But is there any more high points of the film that anyone want to mention before we get into spoilers?
I don't know. Does the Hanafuda fall under spoilers?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I would... Well, I will say that Hanafuda does take
It is
place.
a reoccurring theme.
It is a reoccurring theme that the family plays, which is a card game.
It's kind of like if Go Fish had rules about as complex as a collectible trading card game. That probably makes it sound worse than it is. But matching is involved. Unfortunately, if you're not Japanese, the combinations make no sense for the most part if you're not raised around it. But there's cards with different images, and lining up different cards is worth different points.
Look, the important things you need about Hanafuda, as far as watching this film, is that koi koi sounds important.
Yes.
And it's more important the more energetic you say it. And as it turns out, the entire world knows how to play this game. And it's not just the Japanese, even though you know for a fact that you don't know how to play this game either.
I kind of... Well, that's... Well, wait, spoilers. I'll say that something later.
But I mean, it definitely is a movie about themes.
Yes.
And it does a really good job of presenting these same themes in multiple variations. I said, you have the whole sense of conflict, and they show it in the baseball game, into this war stories, into the actual,
the
family drama, through the actual problems that are affecting real people in real life, thanks to the problems in Oz.
Or even romantic problems between the main character and the girl who he kind of likes, but he has no idea if she likes him at all.
So it does a really good job of presenting a lot of these things, a lot of these same ideas, but in multiple vectors. So it really feels like it's a big, chaotic, but yet unified whole. And something else that actually Kevin mentioned to me earlier before we started recording is the music's really good.
Yes, it's nice. I mean, it does a good job of carrying the action along. It's dramatic when it's dramatic. Times are required.
It's by Akihiko Matsumoto, and it does a really good job of keeping things flowing. I noticed there were a lot of scenes, especially when they start setting up the movie, that it's very, very bouncy, it helps you move from scene to scene. It does a really good, job sense of, going back into the boonies, meeting this family. It sends the right scenes of urgency. It sort of gives you more of a technological feel when you're in Oz. Like, it does a really good, it's a good job of, it's a very good score to the film. It accompanies it very well.
When it's supposed to be tense, the music builds on the tension. It's when it's in dramatic moments near the end, especially. When family togetherness time must happen, the music is uplifting.
And there's many times I was, in fact, nodding to myself, just enjoying the score.
Yes.
When they were doing a lot of music playing in the background, which is not that often anymore.
True. Yeah. And really what should be said before moving on, certainly, is animation style. there's a distinct art shift between the real world and the virtual world. The virtual world's more of almost a kind of a super flat kind of art style.
Well, it's very much. I noticed that when you're in the real world, I think they made a big effort to use as little CG as possible.
Yes, it's very hand animated looking.
Whereas, of course, in the computer world, it's all CG.
Yeah.
And so you get a huge contrast. And of course, all the characters have their different avatars.
Yes, and some of them look more or less like the actual characters, although they usually have at least some feature that's shared with the real person.
Or at least some interest.
Yeah.
Like, the guy, the boisterous uncle who also teaches, martial arts to one of the kids there. He's also really fond of...
He's a fisherman.
Fisherman capturing
Or runs a
squid.
fishing company. Yeah.
And he brings, all these tubs of squid and nothing but squid.
So his avatar is like a squid ninja.
Yeah.
It's awesome. The fireman guy actually has like a little fire dog, like a little robot fire dog. It's weird.
Yeah, you also realize, you get a really, impression that this is a big family and they're really big in, they're in all the various tendrils of important parts of society. One guy's in the military, one guy's a policeman, one guy's a fireman. They're all... These are guys who are,
at least one doctor,
very big in, civic duty, and it's a wide range of civic
In fact,
duties.
that's when things start, the AI starts mucking with the real world. It's the grandma and her family and all the contacts she knows because she's really old and has met all sorts of people that helps hold everything together.
And because you could tell that when she was younger, she was a social badass.
Yes.
I knew how to work the peoples. And speaking of working peoples, we're going to work into a break, and then we'll come back with all the spoilers you would ever want, and maybe more, and possibly less. Battle is playing cards.
Hanafuda for the souls of the internet.
Yep.
Okay, that's awesome. It's so damn awesome. More than saying you're playing Hanafuda for the internet possibly sounds like it could be.
And that's what I noticed that, apparently everyone in the world knows how to play this game. Because if you notice, once they start really, when they ramp up, when she gets all the souls of humanity.
Like everyone from all over the world starts throwing their accounts in. It's the girlfriend, love interest, she's playing Hanafuda playing account for account with the AI, trying to steal back the accounts.
Yeah.
And eventually it happens that basically people from all over the world start throwing in. And I think, honestly, they start joining in with the koi calls because they've been watching it the whole time, and that's what they saw everyone else doing.
That could be true. I'm not going to discount that. That might be possible.
I think I'd be doing that, too. I don't know how it's played. But...
Yeah, koi, whatever. Look, yeah, koi. That's totally true.
Yeah.
I could see that. But yeah, the grandmother's such a badass in this film.
Grandmother is the ultimate awesome grandmother.
She reminds me of my Yaya back before she unfortunately went senile. Yaya is Greek for grandmother.
Yeah, I see elements of both my maternal and paternal grandmother as well.
Oh, I can see the grandmother totally, Helen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can totally see her. As far as the opera company goes back in the day, she was totally this.
Yeah, it's a very strong... It's, in fact, almost pretty much a grandmother's presence has caused the family to be kind of very female-dominated. And I kind of recognize that in my extended family a little bit.
To the point where, usually when the females, put their foot down, the men, even no matter how disagreement there might be, they still step back and let the women take control because that's just how they're trained to do.
Yeah.
Because this grandmother is so awesome.
Yeah, because she might just pull a naginata off the wall and run you through if you've offended the family honor too much. Even
though it's not very sharp, she still might be able to pull it off.
Yeah.
And the scene where she actually passes away is just really...
That's the turning point of the movie.
That's where I decided the AI was an evil bastard.
Yeah.
This movie actually makes the AI an evil bastard. It like disables her heart monitor in her sleep. It like the thing that the doctor and the family had hooked up to monitor her vitals, it disables it. He might have been able to save her had it not been disabled.
But they couldn't because they didn't know it.
Yeah, they couldn't say for sure that was absolutely true, but the AI actually recognizes that family as a threat.
And and is actively taking it. Well, I assume that people have seen this film or don't care about spoilers because it's spoiler territory. But and that when he starts launching, the pieces of the fragment of the
this
satellite.
AI, once it realizes that humans are dicking with it, it tries to take controls of satellites and drop them on nuclear power plants and the house that this family lives in.
Like I said, when it raises the stakes, it raises the stakes.
Yeah, so it's not entirely, the conflict is not entirely limited to the virtual world, separate from the real world. It starts taking pot shots at them in real life as best it can. It just got some really good scenes in this film. Oh, I love when... And really, it's our slightly nerdy, shy, socially awkward hero who actually kind of brings together the men of the family to decide to try to stop this rogue AI. I love when they go out and get the gigantic server and the best computers from the guy who owns the electronics shop.
And that gigantic fishing boat.
The fishing boat with the built-in, the generator built in, And
they throw in all the ice to here, and then the stupid police idiot.
Yeah.
Goes we got to cool down the corpse of our dead grandmother.
Which, I sort of understand that, and this guy's a moron, so he might not know what a server is.
You just don't fucking do that. He was stupid.
This guy is a moron. I mean, he's
I
probably a good local law enforcement officer, but the guy's still a moron.
I completely agree with the kid. What's his name or whatever? Punching
Kazuma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now he deserved way more than that.
Yeah, that's bad.
Well, back when they actually captured it, they laid out their plan, which again parallels to one of the battles.
Their story about the ancient battle fought by their ancestors way back when.
And they reset it up so they actually capture the AI, and they're about to drown it. I don't know how that actually works, but they're about to drown it. And then it busts out because the server couldn't handle the amount of pressure it was being put upon by the rogue AI that was developed by the freaking black sheep dude of the family.
Yeah, and unleashed on this social network site by the U.S. Department of Defense, who bought the AI and were testing it out.
America. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, America is completely... Well, the Department of Defense, the American military, if you will, is unashamedly the villain of this film, even though they put them forth as the villain. But beyond that, there's little actual involvement by any humans in that end. But
I think it's one of those cases where it's one of those things where they let the genie out of the bottle. They didn't quite realize what the genie could actually do.
Yeah.
They were in fact just running tests. I'm sure that they had full intentions of resetting everything back to normal.
Yeah, they just wanted to see, could it hack the security? They didn't know it was going to, wreck the world if it could get away with it.
No, I guarantee you that was one of the things that I think the only thing truly malicious in this was the AI.
Yeah.
I'm sure that the Americans not.
The uncle just gave a computer program the desire to learn, and it turned into an asshole gamer.
It's true.
Yep.
There's a lesson in there somewhere.
The old internet dickwad theory.
Yep.
When you're anonymous, you become a dickwad.
Yes. Or when you become a giant, super powerful botnet of doom.
It's true. And really, this tells us the danger that Facebook faces to us as human beings.
Yes.
We cannot let Facebook take over our lives, people. That's what this film has taught me.
Even though I just reactivated my Facebook account like a few weeks back. But
if you let Facebook take over everything, Facebook will be evil. No, we need, other social network sites to combat them, like Twitter, which is like Facebook about the crap.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket, because it seems in this universe that this movie took place in, everything was through Oz, and there was nothing else.
Yeah. Although, since we're in spoilers, I do have to say my absolute favorite moment of the film, most favorite of all, where the main character breaks a 2056-bit encryption code in his head.
Yes.
In his ultimate math moment of triumph. In about 20 seconds.
It's true. Well, I assume that he's gone through these same equations.
Yeah, well, yes. The first time it took him like hours on paper, and he got progressively faster, because I'm assuming it follows a similar format. Once he got the basic idea, it became easier. But yeah, at the end, he finally has to do it one more time. He's like already broken it like about 2 or 3 times in a row, but this time he does it in his head and gives himself a nosebleed.
This is such a fun movie to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Madhouse really did just do an outstanding job of animating every little bit, nook and cranny of this thing.
Be it real world or virtual.
You know, I mean, when you see, like, the iPhone, you know what the iPhone is.
Yeah, there are iPhones. Total product placement.
I think there was no, like, random Engrishy, let's get away from, copyright stuff in this film.
No.
I think it was all actual stuff.
Also, in fact, there was some... for the most part, there was actual English text and some English voiceover that are part of the original Japanese film, and they were all pretty good. They were not Engrishy.
Like, this film really went out of their way to make the actual realistic parts of this film about as realistic as they could in the realm of animation.
Yeah, it was good. For the most part, mostly realistic character designs too, except in the virtual world, but you wouldn't expect it there.
I mean, everything still looks a little bit... It's still anime. It's
it's Yoshiyuki Sakamoto. It's the character designer of Evangelion.
Yeah, Yoshiyuki Sakamoto.
And some various other Gainax works for the most part, which is kind of weird seeing him not on a Gainax project, but...
He does stuff that's non-Gainax.
Yeah. He
did a lot of character designs for a lot of stuff that B-Train animated, such as MADHOUSE and .hack.
Yeah.
So,
but it looked it was very nice.
His trademark is basically the hexagonal eyes.
Yeah. That's we've done Ava wall scrolling here, but yeah.
But it's a good film. It's a good film. It's a fun film. It's filmed definitely, as long as you realize that the computer stuff is totally crazy. So I think it's why the reason why they called it Oz. Yeah. Is because as far as computers go, this is a fantasy world. This is a fantasy realm. I mean, by punching in keystrokes, Cosmo was using his character to do crazy, kung fu, martial arts action.
Yeah, and the virtual world characters were able to do anything a human could do, any kind of motion or gesture, and more so. And sometimes nobody had anything more than a cell phone or a DS.
And fly, and use magic powers, and do whatever they needed to do. Like, it was just a totally fantasy realm that has no basis in reality whatsoever. It was just analogs to let you understand what was going on.
It was good for dramatic narrative. And in fact, I actually was reading something of an interview with the director that said something to the effect of, for a lot of ways, for modern Japan, Oz is almost the reality, and the rural is more the fantasy for a lot of people who live in urban Tokyo. That the Oz is almost more like their real life, and the scenes in the countryside are more fantastical in some ways. What with smaller Japanese families, and not so many of these big, huge families anymore. But
and I could see that. I could definitely see that, where it is, because, the Japanese are, their population is getting, older and older, and, there's less young people and smaller. Yeah, I could see that. And just how much, Japanese people are really addicted to their cell phones. Well, like most of our modern, culture, if you've got a smartphone, it's attached not even just to your hip, it's attached to, like, your hand.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't get rid of the thing. You want to keep updated. You want to keep connected. So
I'm saying, nodding, but I'm one of the few holdouts in that area. Although I do have a cell phone, it's pretty damn cheap, and I hardly use it.
I need to get a new one pretty soon too, but I don't know if I want to get a smartphone or just a more advanced version of this. So,
once you go to smartphone, you just cannot go back.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Like, you just cannot go back.
Well, if I ever seriously upgrade my phone, it will be to a smartphone. I'll be paying like 4 times as much as I do as a phone bill. And I'm not in a hurry to do that. Especially since I rarely use it. I mostly use... But I am addicted to the internet, so...
But that's not about the film. The film is good, and you should watch it. You should buy it. And unlike our last review, you can actually get a hold of this film for reasonable prices because it just released thanks to Funimation.
Easy to find. And
you can find it on Blu-ray, you can find it on DVD, you can probably find it at Best Buy. And that's getting harder and harder.
Yeah,
yes.
I think we are getting some DVD copies at my Walmart even. Not the Blu-rays though, sadly, because you want to watch this on Blu-ray.
You want to watch this on Blu-ray.
You want to watch this on Blu-ray.
This is gorgeous.
You know,
gorgeous.
It's made for high def. It looks great in high def. There's no reason not to watch
this
it in high def.
This is theatrical animation, so it looks just glorious in 1080p.
Yes.
Or 720p, or however P's you want to watch it in. It's gonna look good. And so that's Summer Wars. It's a mini wars of summer. And summer.
Yeah.
With that, we are Koi Koi. No, wait, I'm sorry, we can't be done. We haven't rated things awesomes out of awesomes. I forgot all about it till Kevin mentioned it. Yes. How many Koi Kois out of awesome is this film, Kevin?
All the Koi Kois out of awesome.
Excellent. Brad,
every Koi Koi.
How many Koi Kois out of awesome?
I'm going to bid everything I have, 400 million Koi Kois out of awesome, whatever
God
it is.
damn, that's a lot of Koi Kois.
I know.
I'm going to use the Koi Kois from everybody in Germany. Because it's the Germans who saved the world.
One little boy from Germany.
Yeah, so one Koi Koi. That's all this film is worth. But that's the Koi Koi that saves the world. So isn't that worth the most of all?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Guten Tag.
Zigaretten. Also Hafermieten.
Isn't it supposed to be Guten Nicht?
Depends on when they listen.
Yeah.
So whichever Guten is appropriate to your time zone.
So I don't sprechen Sie Deutsch, so...
So Guten Koi.
Koi. Metal Koi.
Ooh. Metal Koi Koi.
Koi Koi.
Dateline, Nazi Germany, Hitler and his armies march into Prussia.